Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. So I have seen Secret Level, the new anthology series from Amazon Prime Video, and we're going to talk about it today. I'm going to be filming this in the same way that I filmed my Dune review, which is very casual. Just kind of sat down chatting with you about the series, about each episode without giving anything away. I do have my short thoughts on each individual episode. There's not as much to talk about because, again, with this being an anthology, you can't really talk about overarching arcs or anything like that. The episodes are short, some bit longer than others, but we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. Firstly, I want to say that there is only one game in this series that I have played, so I won't be commenting on how they are in relation to their respective game, whether they fit into the story or if they're a good adaptation or, whatever. But I trust from watching this series that I think it probably does stay true, besides the Pac-Man episode, which isn't very Pac-Man, but you'll see. It's quite a dark one, and you've probably seen the trailer on Twitter or something like that, the Pac-Man trailer. It's very different. So we're just going to go individual by episode. I'm not going to say the title of the episode. I actually don't have the title next to my notes. Just episode 1, 2, and 3. But you can have a look on the Secret Level website to see which episode is, which game. So, to start with, episode 1, I want to say first off the bat, before I do get into this is a really good show. I want to get that off the bat. Maybe some of you are just going to turn off right now and like, oh, well, great, okay, well, I'll watch it. But I do want to, I want you to hear me out, because there are some episodes much, much better than the others. Again, this is kind of the average score of all this, all added together to make a very good show. But we'll start off with episode 1, which I do remember is the Dungeons and Dragons episode. One thing that I was kind of worried about, because of it, this happened in episode 1, and I was kind of worried it would happen throughout the show. But sometimes it felt that certain scenes ended like gameplay was about to start, where it would cut to black and you'd start walking around with the character. I thought that was going to be something that would occur throughout the entirety of this show, but it didn't. So it was only for episode 1, and I kind of found that a little unusual, especially because there was continuity between scenes, that there'd probably be no gameplay in between. But it was still, despite, based on a video game, it did feel like a very self-contained story. There is an arc there. But yeah, very, very enjoyable episode. Fantastic ending. This episode, you'll notice the art style, which is very just basic, gorgeous 3D animation cutscene that you get with most games nowadays. But you'll notice throughout this show that they kind of go with that for a lot of these games, even when some of these games, if you have a look on Google, look at pictures of these games, the art style is a little different, but they've kind of made it maybe more gritty and realistic by using this 3D animation. But good start. The second episode is the Sifu one. I'm not too familiar with the game. I've never heard of the game, but this was much, much shorter. I think something like 7 minutes long. It was the arcane style of animation. Fantastic fight scenes, great music, great sound design. There is a certain part of this short that I would have liked to have seen that they kind of don't show, but I would have loved to have seen that. But for a 7-minute story, it's a good story. I loved the action, and of course the arcane art style's really, really good. Episode 2, I prefer to episode 1. Episode 3, I was worried at the start. I thought the start of episode 3 moved a little too fast for my liking. It was kind of, you were introduced and then suddenly, boom, something happened and we kind of moved on very quickly. And I would have liked a tiny little bit more build-up, maybe a minute of build-up. But this short is very, very funny and kind of subtle in its sadness. Arnold Schwarzenegger plays Elstrom, and he lands on this island, and he's kind of, every time he dies, he kind of resets on the island, but everyone around him remembers everything, like it's not like Groundhog Day. And no, I thought it was really, really funny, because he believes that he's good enough to conquer this place, but he just keeps getting killed over and over and over again. But it is quite subtle in its sadness, and it has a very sweet ending. So yeah, really enjoyed that. Now for episode 4. This is my favourite of the season. I thought this episode was absolutely fantastic. Really great, ominous storytelling and music, sound design, the directing, just engaging from start to finish. I think this was something like 17 minutes long, which is one of the longest of the show, so that gives you an idea of how short each episode kind of is. Really, really liked this. I think this was Unreal Tournament. Just a really good story. Loved the direction and the action sequences. Reminded me a bit of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, when the clones would they would go in that kind of they would do it like a bit of a tournament in that fighting arena, and the clones would fight each other on each side. It reminded me of that, and it was very, very good and very dark, but brilliant. Episode 5, again, really liked this one. I think this was the Warhammer one. Just really cool. I'm not gonna say much. Really cool, brilliant sound design and music, and there's a great use of slow motion in this episode as well. So really enjoyed that. Now for the Pac-Man episode, some gorgeous art, really loved. I mean, every single frame looked fantastic. Really enjoyable, but again, nothing like Pac-Man. It sticks to its R-rated roots, kind of with the, not the birth of Pac-Man, but an ominous spin on Pac-Man and the ghosts, and good storytelling, good directing. It's only 8 minutes long. Doesn't come together as well as maybe I had hoped it would, but it has a fun twist by the end. I think people will like it, but also kind of be like, well, that's just not Pac-Man, is it? Episode 7, I think it's called Crossfire, something like that, and I'm going to be honest, I liked this episode. Definitely the weakest so far, but honestly, if you had showed this episode without telling someone the name of the episode or the game, you'd assume it was Call of Duty. It's essentially Call of Duty. There's an actress in there who's from The Boys. She was in Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3. It genuinely could just be Call of Duty. It was kind of, I think it could have been a little bit more stylistically different for a little bit more distinction. Again, like in terms of how it looks visually, again, it looks like Call of Duty. So there is no distinction there, so I think you can just look at it and go, this is just a short Call of Duty story. But it did feel like just one big scene. Every one of these episodes feel as though they are, besides the last episode, individual stories. You know, there's a start, middle, and end. There's an arc there. While this episode, there was kind of an arc, but it was kind of one big 15-minute sequence. A great sequence, but, you know, it was a sequence. So I just didn't connect to it as much as the others. It was enjoyable and well-directed, just not as engaging. And as I've kind of said so far, good music and sound design. You're going to find that throughout this entire show. The next episode, this one stars Keanu Reeves. I really enjoyed Keanu Reeves' performance in that. I don't really rate him much as an actor. I really like Keanu Reeves. I love his films as well. But as an actor, I don't think he's fantastic. But he was good in this. I really enjoyed him in this. Good action, good music. Again, kind of a big 12-minute stretch in a film rather than a full short story. So it's not as engaging as a short. I kind of forgot about that, but there is a little bit of it's a little different to the Call of Duty one. While it kind of is a 12-minute stretch of a film, rather than a short story, I did found this to be a little bit more engaging. Maybe it's because of the world that it was in and the mystery of it. Episode 9, this is a dark one. This is very funny episode, but very dark at the same time. It has some weird editing at the start. It kind of happens very suddenly. And you're kind of like, well, that was weirdly edited. It starts off quite weak. It starts off quite cheery, but builds... It builds up really good. I really, really enjoyed it by the end. It's a really good story. Just it gets dark. It does get dark. I'm not going to say anything more than that. Again, I kind of wish I did write down the episode names here, so I could have told you. Maybe I can tell you after this. I'll just quickly go on my screeners and read out each episode. Next episode, episode 10. I do wish this was longer. I believe this was the kind of the kid. What's it called? Mega Man. So yeah, this was the Mega Man episode. This was about 7 minutes long. It was a sweet short. I really liked it. It was nice. Had a lackluster ending. I do hope it has a follow-up. I think if it does get a season 2, we might get a follow-up. But seeing as I'm not familiar with the game, it's possible that the ending of this episode is actually just the beginning of the game. I'm not too sure, but it was a nice short nonetheless. I enjoyed it. Next episode is a little bit of a longer one. Again, another sweet story, but I didn't care as much emotionally as the writers may have expected. It is this emotional journey of a father looking for his daughter over years and years and years. But it was good. I just didn't really care too much, so I couldn't really connect to it. Episode 12, I believe this is like the Spelunker one. Is it called Spelunker? Spelunky episode where this little girl's kind of going through caves trying to get treasure or whatever. It's short. It's enjoyable. Nothing more to say. I like the art. This one was very, very good. So this one felt longer than 15 minutes in a very good way. So this is, in fact, Concord, which is a game that I believe has never been released. I believe they were going to release the game, but they canned it. So expect to be blue-balled, because this is a very good episode. It felt longer than 15 minutes in a very, very good way. A great story. Really, really enjoyed it. Great dynamics. The directing, the score, it had a nice style to it. Kind of reminded me of Guardians of the Galaxy in a way. Or more the Suicide Squad, how it kind of introduces each character in a fun manner. So yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. This is probably the second strongest of the season. So definitely look forward to that. But I definitely think if you were excited about the Concord game and now you're going to see this episode, you're going to be like, come on. You can't give me this short film and not give me the game. Good episode. Very good episode. Episode 14. I actually need to remind myself. Oh, Honor of Kings. So this was set in... I don't want to assume, but I think it was Japan. Loved the art direction. Very engaging. Good story. Good music. Loved the directing. I mean, it was very unique. This man goes to this castle and plays like a game of... I don't know what the game's called, but he plays a game, and as he's playing this game, he learns more about his past and the truth of his past. We start off the episode as like a flashback to when he was much younger and he went a traumatic event. I really, really liked this. I thought it was very unique. Again, the art style is very similar to kind of the realistic kind of looking animation, but a little bit different at times, that I did think it stood out a little bit more to the other ones like the Call of Duty one or the Keanu Reeves one, but a good one nonetheless. And finally, to wrap up the video, we have episode 15, the last episode. I don't believe this is actually a game. I think they created this story because they actually, a couple characters from different games show up in this episode. Enjoyable, but it wasn't nothing more than that. Maybe it would be more exciting for gaming nerds who really, who might go, oh, I recognize that. Oh, I love that. Oh, I've loved that game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. This episode was called Playtime, which I think kind of puts it in perspective. It was a fun, playful episode that comes together really nicely by the end, and I think people are going to enjoy this episode. But that is it. I thought Secret Level was fantastic. I think it's much better than Love, Death and Robots, which I'm not a fan of. I think there's some strong episodes in Love, Death and Robots, but I think there's a lot of really bad episodes. There are no bad episodes in this season. While my favorite episode was episode 4, your favorite episode could genuinely be anything. Each episode, for the most part, is unique and interesting, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy this and hope that we get a season 2. I certainly hope we get a season 2. I had an absolute blast with this, and I hope you guys enjoy this. And when you see each episode, I think it's 2 or 3 a week. I'm going to have a look here. It is 2 a week. So, wow, this series doesn't wrap up till the end of January. So, yeah, I've definitely got it quite a bit early. But come back to this review. Let me know what you think of each episode. What's your favorite episode? And yeah. Fantastic show. Really enjoyed it. Thank you for watching the video. If you're new, feel free to subscribe, like, share, and comment, all that good stuff. My Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd down below. Follow them. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.